Hi everyone. So I was at a really low point when writing came into my life and suffering with a lot of mental health issues. Like not a lot, but it was a very, very low point for me. And um, it was just, I wasn't any good at it. Don't get me wrong. My grammar was broken every time I would try to write, and my sentences wouldn't complete because my hands wouldn't be able to keep up with what was going in my head. And I was very close to doing what we all know as the unspeakable. And it was just days and nights of constantly crying for help, and but no words would come out of my mouth. It was, of course, I had people to talk to. My parents were there. Everyone was really supportive, but it was just whenever I would look at them, I wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to share anything that was going in my head. And so at that moment when I was just sitting one night just in my head, and one thing I remembered, it came to my head. Every new year I had a ritual. I wouldn't call it a ritual per se, but every new year I would make resolutions for myself. And one thing that was common in every new year since I was a kid was I'll maintain a journal. And but every new year I would go into a week of new year and I would stop. I would never go through with it. And so that night I was sitting there in middle of the year, no new year, no end of the year, thinking of what could be the possible option. What can I do? Can I give something a try before I finally, because big steps. So yeah, so I had nothing to lose. So I was like, why not? Let's give it a try. So I started writing. And by the way, every time I thought of the unspeakable, regret followed immediately after. So I never even had the guts to do it. And I wrote with absolutely, absolutely broken grammar. It wasn't readable. I couldn't read it myself. Even now, when I try to read what I wrote, it's funny to read. It was a very dark time of my life, but now that I look back at it, getting through was so, so nice. It was genuinely a ray of sunshine that I was able to get out of it. And yeah, and that's so I decided to continue writing, and a few of the people read it, and everyone was very motivating towards it, even though I knew how bad it was. And so this is what I'm here to share today, my poem. And it focuses on mainly two things. One is that as Indians, we are a very society oriented, I don't know, a species that we crave for approval every time, and not every time does it work in our favor. Sometimes it's really hurtful. Sometimes people let us down, and sometimes it stops you from doing what you really want to do, what you really want to be. You want to wear something, they're like, no, it's not, appropriate or anything. And second is main thing, and out of everything, it's my journey with myself. That is my main Karwaan. And it's how I have helped myself and everyone around me. It's just karma. Like whenever I hear the word, when I first heard the word that this event was happening and the name was karma, first thing came to my mind was it's about my journey with myself. It's about your journey with yourself. And that is what my poem is about. It's loaded with metaphors. It's completely loaded. So I'm going to turn off my videos so you all can really absorb in the words. And please let me know how you find it. Okay, I'm gonna just start. Okay. She walked floors like a spider crawling out of its own web, dipping her fingers into the cracks of the floor in attempt to make them bigger, wider. She wasn't a human for the love of darkness. She was a slick sunshine dripping like saliva from when you and I unzipped the locked lips for the high. She was the color yellow on the days thunderstorms hollowed. But all she is now are the cracks that perhaps will collapse, leaving no trace of her on the maps. Angry sinkhole of paranoia dwells deep within her as she finds herself stuck within walls as tall as Cinqueya. She chews the crippled pieces of the broken ceramic plate that were thrown at her as a bait. Within the four walls built of stainless metal that were closing in on her with a steady accelerating speed, hopefully with a motive to squish her till her appearance is as good as a smashed potato. She screamed with the unrealistic hopes of being saved. She tried to save herself. She pushed with the thrust of her palms as they fall flat against the surface with no curve intact. But like they were meant to rip apart the shiny metal, but the walls kept getting closer to her. Faster and faster, she wished that her prince would come and save her, were her last thoughts. Before she wakes up, her every alternate heartbeat skips for 23 seconds. She tells herself it was a dream, it was a dream, it was a dream into 70 times. But the bruises against her dry skin convince her otherwise. Was she given another chance to save herself? Do it differently, maybe. Changing her last thoughts wouldn't be that crazy. Maybe. Or was she going to go back to being a girl who used to wait around for her prince to come and rescue her after 12, but all for himself? Because let me tell you a secret for which the story tells you otherwise. You do not have to be pushed against the wall to know when the skies are falling, stars are crimpling, seas are loudly wounded, and the sun is falling at you like fireworks packed in one from the broken lining of the clouds to burn you. You are and will always be your only rescue. That's it, guys. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for making it so comfortable to share something so personal.